And with that, then we move on to a game that, if at the beginning of the season you'd have said it caused a few headaches, people would have looked at you a bit daft. But here we are, struggling to pick from the Titans and the Broncos. I've gone Broncos. You've also reluctantly joined me on the Broncos on this one.
I initially said Titans. I have no shame in saying that. However, the more I thought about it, and this very well could come back to bite me, the more I thought about it, the more I think that there are a couple of deciding factors that will go the Broncos' way. Factor number one, Payne Haas to Vita Pangai Jr. I think you're just going to run right straight through the guts. The Titans have found a gun in Big Mo, and they still have Jai Arrow, but that's 2 out of 6. I know I mentioned Haas and Pangai as the two main forwards for the Broncos, but yeah, even without Carrigan, even without Flagler, that you've got Offahengawi, who's an Origin representative, who usually starts on the bench, mind you, that is going to start for the Broncos. I think they're more consistent in defence. They have a dual international in Alex Glenn. It's too experienced of a forward pack for me. Factor number 2, you have Anthony Don, who is a very, very good finisher, but not an overly strong defender, going up against a guy in Xavier Coates, who I think 2 weeks ago when he played Manly, I said looked to be the next coming of a young Greg Inglis / Izzy Folau, at least in the air. He has speed. He has a clean set of hands. I think he's just going to overpower Don on that wing, and it would not surprise me if Croft, assuming he plays this week, targets that almost every single time from inside the 30. And I think the change of Isako out of fullback and Niu coming in will spark something. Niu, and David Fafita, for that matter, both being targeted by the Titans. We reported that today, along with every other news site. I think Niu's just going to bring something different to that Broncos attack. He's a live wire, a bit of a spark that Isako hasn't provided in the last couple of games. The only issue that I see is that Isaac Luke is coming off maybe 120 minutes of game time this season, and he's going to have to play 80 with no Corey Pay this weekend. So we'll see. It's a tough one to pick in terms of just these are just 2 out of form teams. But yeah, very, very reluctantly, I'm going the Broncos, but it's not going to be by much.
Yeah, I join you on that reluctance bus. I when I was going through before the team list came out, I was leaning towards the Broncos. And then when the team list came out, I leaned further away from the Broncos because you got Isaac Luke, who's not been an 80-minute hooker for quite some time now. You got your halves. Where do you even start with the Broncos halves? I'd even have been more tempted to see New at 6, Dearden at 7, and Milford to fullback and put Azarko on the wing. Potentially move Oates into the back row and put Farnworth on the other side and reshuffle that way. And just you've got nothing to lose at this point. Tinker with it and find your best setup, because I know that I've not mentioned Boyd in there. They're kind of strapped for centres at this point. Nobody's going to unseat Boyd, unfortunately. Broncos fans, you're stuck with him until the end of the season. Bad news. But Milford, for the criticisms that Sean Johnson has copped and Ash Taylor has copped for the amount of money that they're on and the calibre player that they are, Milford has somehow slipped under the radar of the NRL media for underperformers. Milford has not looked there or thereabouts for some time. There's even points where I question whether he's still on the field. So you saw what Tessie New did against England in the 6 role. Give him a shot. Give him a run out there. Give Dearden an opportunity to show that he is a starting 7.
I have a sneaking suspicion that Seabold's been criticised for playing New at the 1, but leaving Dearden in the 18 because he said, well, Tom hasn't had a great deal of game time, so we're hesitant to throw him in. It wouldn't surprise me if this is New's audition. If he plays well this week, Isako very well might just drop out at the 17 completely, and that 14 role becomes Milford's, to then see Dearden come in as the game management 5'8" half, Croft partnering up as the more attacking player. But you almost have to think, and you have to question as to whether they regret letting Nikorima go last year. Because for all the criticism that the Warriors halves do get for not doing one thing or another, Nikorima has looked a lot more dangerous than both Milford and Croft, arguably combined, this year at the Warriors with the issues that they've had.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the Broncos. I mean, this is the final point now I'm going to make on the Broncos. I'm going to move to the Titans then. You look at the Broncos. They have as good as, in fact, no, not even as good as, they have 4 fullbacks in their 17. That's immediately an issue. It's all well and good having versatility, but having 4 fullbacks, New, Milford, Boyd, and Azarko. I mean, I don't know what Azarko. He's not been brilliant, but I don't think it warranted dropping Azarko. I think there's 3 or 4 players in that Broncos side that you put on the chopping block before you even look at Azarko. But okay, whatever. The decision's been made. I'm not the Broncos head coach. You couldn't pay me enough to do it at the minute. Looking at the Titans, I mean, putting Mitch Rain back in at 9, good decision. I think they've lacked a little bit of leadership in and around the ruck. Aaron Clark, to his credit, has been going okay, as has Tanner Boyd. But I think they need someone like Mitch Rain in there who's going to steady them around the ruck. Thankfully, they've got Philip Sammy back and Corey Thompson as well. Corey Thompson surviving the HIA as well. But as you mentioned, day 6 should be... No, day 6 would be the game before game day. So expect to get confirmation of that one in late mail. But Fotuaker being probably one of the most surprising standouts in any team. I mean, he's up there in the Dally M leaderboard, and rightfully so. He's been fantastic. I wouldn't be surprised to hear that there's a couple of teams chasing him, but I know that the Gold Coast Titans have been wanting to retain him for some time. You look at their backline, Dawn, Kelly, Copley, Sammy, you've got some good talent in there. So I think there's going to be a decent battle on the edges. Xavier Coates, he's going to probably have another good game. As you mentioned earlier, GI-esque when it comes to being in the air. And even more so when he clocked up that intercept last week. He was gone. No one was getting anywhere near him. Set a new NRL speed record as well. Now officially the fastest player in the NRL, but when you got legs like Edric Lee, 10 strides and you're down the field. So, it's this one I don't see being decided by more than 8 points, but I think the Broncos have got to get it right this week, and I think that they will.
Yeah, look, in terms of betting odds, Broncos 134, Titans 325. I think the Titans are over on that. the try bet for 8.5, or either team by 8 or less on Sportsbet is $2.30. You can double up with either team by 10 or less. If you want to play it somewhat safe, either team 1 to 12, $1.83 either way, yes or no. I mean, I know well and truly that you can get bitten by that with a draw. Thank you very much, Panthers Knights, a couple of weeks ago for costing me $400. But yeah, I think that try bet 10.5, either team by 10 or less for those looking for a sneaky double up. That's the way to go, because this could, despite the betting odds, go either way.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna go Broncos by no more than 4. I don't see it being any further than that. It's going to be. I reckon this one's probably going to have a few tries in it. But both these teams are not. They're not point shy, with the exception of the Broncos the last couple of weeks. But if you go back through the record books, I don't see this one being a low scoring affair. And I think that the Broncos edge it in the end.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more than that. I reckon it wouldn't surprise me if there's 50 points.